You knew that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna surprise you.
Mommamoo's a mom who cares. Hasn't seen Friends since it first aired. Amandamoo's affair, no doubt. Seen it more than she could count. We're so happy you're here too, as we rewatch Friends and we say moo. 2moopoints.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends.
Name
Mommamoo.
and Amandamoo.
And we are 2moopoints.
I was just gonna say, we're mother and daughter. I don't know what you were going for there. We're best friends. We're watching Friends again.
Yes.
And this is our 7th episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Episode 7, the one with the blackout.
Yeah. It's written by Jeff Astrof and Mike Sikowitz. I think they've written one before this. And the director is James Burrows again.
Yay.
I think he didn't do 2 episodes, but this is his 5th episode directing. Original air date was November 3rd, 1994. And the next day, so the 4th of November, the first conference devoted entirely to the subject of the commercial potential of the World Wide Web opened in San Francisco.
Oh, wow.
Just shows like, oh my gosh, they don't have internet. And I'm sick, so sorry, I'm gonna be sniffling. Just warning you. Number of viewers, 23.5 million viewers,
Whoa.
which is an increase of over 5 million viewers from the prior week. And
People are waking up.
well, it's also because of the crossover. We'll get into that
Okay.
because it's an event.
Oh, I see.
NBC made an event. Okay, so we got. I cut it down to like 2 main storylines, but there's lots of little bits and bobs in there. A blackout has enveloped New York City in darkness, but there is light to be found in this darkness for Chandler Bing, and it comes in the form of supermodel Jill Goodacre. But there's also evil lurking in the darkness for Ross Geller, and unfortunately, it comes in the form of the most beautiful fluffy orange cat.
Oh, I thought it was the most beautiful Italian.
The cat first.
Okay. Evil.
Evil cat. Okay, so the episode is part of an NBC crossover stunt named Blackout Thursday. Included the sitcom comedies Mad About You, then Friends, then Seinfeld, but Seinfeld was like, we're not doing this because we're Seinfeld and we don't have to if we don't want to. So they just were in New York City with lights and it was all good. And then the next episode was back to the Blackout and it was a TV show called Madman of the People. I don't know how long that show was on, but that it was involved as well. So they all included
So that's interesting.
They all took place in New York, and they all were
And
involved.
Seinfeld didn't participate.
No,
That's funny.
And the power outage happened in the first episode of Mad About You, like in the series. And Helen Hunt's character caused the blackout. She was trying to legally get cable or something, like trying to switch I don't know.
Yeah.
But
So that's the.
it caused a lot of
Well, the
area.
most of Manhattan was out.
Yeah. No, all of Manhattan.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That Helen.
Okay, and also about this also about this episode, in a 1997 Larry King interview of the whole cast, the 6 of them, Matthew Perry and Jennifer Aniston both said that this is one of their favorite episodes.
Oh, that's cool.
And Courtney also said it was one of her favorite episodes in another interview. But Matthew Perry said that it felt like a little mini movie, and it was so well written. So, and yeah.
And he got to be with Jill Goodacre.
He was by himself the whole entire time. It was just him and her.
Oh.
But I mean, without the friends.
Right.
Like, it was him. I mean, can you imagine a whole week not working with your coworkers?
Yeah,
like,
that is weird.
It is interesting.
That's right.
Okay, and so James Burrows has returned to direct, and I have his new autobiography. I think it came out a couple months ago, or...
Oh, so it's brand new.
Yeah, it's like really new.
That's cool.
Directed by James Burrows is what it's called. And I have 3 quotes I wanted to read, because he's the sweetest. He said, "I once told David Schwimmer, you're the second funniest person I've ever known." And he says that he never told him who the first funniest person. So I don't know if that's a known thing. I'm sure he knows, James Burrows.
That's cool.
And
keep him guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anyone. One of my few regrets in my career is that I didn't stay with those 6 kids who are now amazing adults and good friends for the entire 10-year run.
Oh.
Isn't that like
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine, like...
We all have regrets.
Yeah.
That's his.
And then he says, these were great people who would have triggered the parental instincts in anyone with a sense of warmth. I had a connection with these kids as if they were my own.
Oh.
See?
He's a father figure.
And then this is a fun fact I didn't know. As a nice touch, all the music in this episode between the scenes and, you know, little... I don't know. Between the scenes, are played on acoustic instruments rather than electric.
Oh.
Do you get that?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't have electric.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I think that is
Including
really good, whoever
Phoebe
came up with that.
Guitar.
Multiple times in this episode. Okay, let's start the episode. We start at Central Perk again. And Rachel is announcing on the microphone, Phoebe Buffet is performing at Central Perk.
And we get to hear her sing for the first time. Maybe.
No, second time. Like in the series. Actually, this was the first. This would have been the first time in the series because the other one was a deleted scene from the first episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's what I said. We would have heard the second song of Phoebe. And it also would have been the first time we see her perform at Central Perk because in later episodes we see her perform at Central Perk quite a few times. But the power goes out. And then we switch over to, and then she says, thank you, everyone. Whatever. You're a great audience. I don't know what she says. Then we switch over to an ATM vestibule. And the power goes out right when Chandler's about to leave, and he's just like, oh, and he can't get out. Or, yeah, because it locks, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's how it works, that people can't go in. I don't know.
No looting at the ATM.
Yeah, and so he is stuck in the vestibule, and he's like, oh, this is just great. This is just, and he turns and sees. I don't know if he knows who it is, like, oh, that's that one famous supermodel. But he sees Jill Goodacre. We'll find that out. The supermodel, he's just like, oh.
Okay, this might be my lucky day.
Like, never mind. This was actually really cool. Then we get the title sequence. It's the same, but you questioned whether it was different. It's like, that was different, right?
Which one?
The title sequence.
No.
Do you know what the title sequence is?
No.
It's the fountain.
Oh, yeah.
It
looked all
I'll be there
brand
for you.
new. Oh, okay.
No. It was still the same.
Oh.
Okay, and then we get into the body of the episode, and we're starting at Monica and Rachel's apartment. And the lights are still all out, and the 5 other friends other than Chandler are hunkering down in their apartment. Lots of candles, moonlight. The lighting is really cool in this episode, actually.
It is.
Monica's on the phone talking to her mom because, so I guess phones don't use as much electricity as other things. So like you can still use phones.
Landlines.
Yeah. Yeah. But, so she's talking to her mom, and her mom's telling her that it's all of Manhattan's blacked out, parts of Brooklyn and Queens. So like, it's a major blackout. And she asks Monica what she's wearing, and Monica's like, why, Mom? Who am I going to meet during the blackout? Like, yeah. Well, someone does meet someone, but it's not Monica, sorry. And then Phoebe asks to use the phone after Monica gets off to call her grandma. But she asks, what's my phone number?
Yeah, because I never call myself.
I mean, nowadays we don't really...
Now it's even worse.
Yeah, gosh. Okay, then the next scene is in the vestibule, and he's like, what's her name? What's her name? It's that supermodel from Victoria's Secret. It's Goodacre, something Goodacre. Hey, Mom, it's Jill. Oh, Jill Goodacre. That's what she says on the phone to her mom.
Oh, her.
Jill.
Oh, okay. So that's how she knew the last name. And I'm like, what? He's talking to his mom on the phone?
I tried to be 2 characters at once. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so Jill Goodacre plays herself. Someone online, I read their comment, and it said, today I found out that she's playing herself, Jill Goodacre. Yeah, so she modeled for Victoria's Secret when it was just starting out, and according to Wikipedia, she and a couple other models helped Victoria's Secret grow into the big time. Yeah. And sorry to break anyone's hearts who shipped Chandler and Jill together, but she was married at the time of filming.
Oh.
And yeah, and she was actually wearing a wedding ring during the episode.
Really?
I did not notice that the multiple times I've seen this episode, I had never noticed that she's wearing a wedding ring. Because I always was just like, why don't they get together? Like, why doesn't one of them make the connection to, I don't know. Yeah, so she got married that same year in 1994 in April. She married musician and entertainer Harry Connick Jr. Mm-hmm. You knew that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna surprise you. And they're still married today, and they have 3 children. Yeah. 3 daughters. gosh, all three.
They're all beautiful.
Yeah. And so next up, Chandler's trying to figure out. Oh, a lot of this episode, Chandler is speaking to himself.
Yeah,
it's like
it's
an
great.
inner monologue. It's really, really great. And so he's trying to. He's questioning if it's a vestibule or a atrium. It's a vestibule. From what I could tell, vestibule is a passage, hall, or room between the outer door and the interior of a building. And an atrium is like in a mall with like a skylight, like a central like courtyard. That's more of what an atrium is. We go back to Monica and Rachel's apartment, and Joey enters carrying a menorah, a lit menorah.
So funny.
He says that Chandler's old roommate was Jewish, and that they're the only candles they have.
That's just so cool.
What do you think about that, though? Just because it's a religious, like, it represents something in a religion, do you think that's...
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's okay, though, that they're using it as a joke?
It wasn't a joke. It gives out a lot of light, and it's beautiful.
But the audience laughs and stuff. You think that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Phoebe's by the window, and she sees that ugly naked guy has lit a bunch of candles, and they all go and look because they have to look at ugly naked guy, and they all go, ooh, that had to hurt as they turn away.
That must have been melted wax in the wrong place.
Oh, I don't think welted wax.
What do you think?
I think that a fire, like he was bending over something and a fire got something.
No, melted wax.
I guess it could be.
He's naked.
I know, but I think that something catches his thing. Fire.
Anyway, so then they all sit around and talk about...
Mom!
What?
Mom, you can't just cut a whole scene.
What do you mean, the whole scene?
That's not the next scene. The next scene is at the vestibule.
Okay, we're back in the vestibule.
And, Jill is still on her phone, I guess. And you said they had cell phones at that time? Yeah, so in 1990, the number of mobile users was around 11 million.
Oh.
So, like, people had cell phones, I guess. And in that same year, 1994, the first smartphone with apps and a touchscreen was released.
Wow.
It looks
so
huge. Silly. No, like, it doesn't look like any smartphone we would see today, that's for
smart.
sure. Mm-hmm. Definitely not. And she asks Chandler, would you like to call someone? And he says, or in his head, he says, about 300 guys I went to high school with. Then he's like, thanks, could I? And he calls Monica, and it's one of my favorite moments. Like, it's such a good moment. Do you remember what happens?
No.
He goes, I'm stuck in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre. She's like, I have no idea what you're saying. And he says, put Joey on the phone.
I know, Joey, of course, understands his mom.
And he's like, he's stuck in an ATM vestibule with Jill Goodacre. Like, word for word. And then he talks back. And Chandler understands that as well. Oh, so good. Last year, actually, Harry Connick Jr. recreated this scene with his wife in an ATM vestibule, and he's like saying,
oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Next scene, we go back to Monica and Rachel's apartment, and what are they talking about?
Where places they've had sex.
Weirdest places they've had sex. Monica is on a pool table, senior year of college. Joey proudly says, the woman's room on the second floor of the New York City Public Library. Phoebe, Milwaukee. Ross, Disneyland, 1989. It's a small world after all. And I guess the ride crashed, or not crashed, but it went down and they were stuck. Him and Carol. And then Rachel at the foot of the bed.
Funny stuff.
And then there's a deleted little snippet of Monica and Phoebe at the fridge, and the lights are out because it's blackout. And Phoebe says, this must be what the fridge looks like when the doors are closed. Spooky. I really liked that.
I know, that's hilarious.
But it was deleted, but it's on the DVDs.
So Phoebe, isn't it?
Oh, I love Phoebe. Then we get like a fast forward to Ross and Rachel talking in the living room. And Rachel is like talking, I don't know, she's concerned about the fact that she's never had that passionate, the craziest place she's had sex is at the foot of the bed. She's just like, she wants that passion. She's worried that she's never going to have a relationship with that passion. And he says, I don't know, he basically says, like, I see real passion in your future. And she said, oh, you do? Oh, Ross, you're the best. And then she, like, walks away and brushes his hair sort of with his hand. And he's just like, okay.
Cool scene.
Why is that a cool scene?
Because it's foreshadowing.
In the future.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so Ross is walking away, and who talks to him next? Joey. What does he say?
get courage.
Never gonna happen, he says.
Yeah, because he sees it.
Yeah, and he says, you waited too long and now you're in the friend zone. And this is where the phrase friend zone originated.
Really?
A Friends episode.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Never gonna happen. You're in the friend zone. He's like, you're the mayor of the friend zone. And then in a deleted scene, Joey says that Rachel didn't run her fingers through Ross's hair, because that's what he says happened.
Right.
He's like, no, she tasseled your hair, and Joey demonstrates the difference, and it's deleted, and it's so good. Oh, did you? We
Yes,
saw that.
I
Okay,
read that.
good. And then Joey tries to give Ross some advice, but then Rachel walks in, and they're like, she's like, what are you guys shushing? Because Ross tries to shush him, and they're like, do you hear that? Do you hear that? And they're like, oh, don't hear anything. We go back to the vestibule, and Jill offers Chandler some gum, and he asks, is it sugarless?
That's so funny.
My mom worked at a dentist before, so
I always ask
you would
if
have
it's
asked that too.
sugarless.
And he says no because it's not sugarless, which, interesting that Chandler would, like...
Yeah, but he's not even thinking.
No, he's totally not thinking. He's just, like, nervously trying to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it's so cute. And in his head, he says, if she offers you gum, you take it. If she offers you mangled animal carcass, you take it.
That's right. Whatever she offers.
You take it. Okay, then we go back to Monica and Rachel's apartment, and Phoebe is singing her second, like, Phoebe song. It's New York City has no power, la 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 la. And this song actually is in the blooper reel because she forgets some of the lyrics, and she's just like, la la la, and she just stands up and she bows and thanks the audience. What it done to me for Thank you. It's so good. I love the bloopers.
Priceless.
And then Ross lets Joey know that he's gonna go onto the balcony because that's where Rachel is, to talk to her and I guess ask her out, or just talk to her and kind of confess maybe. And so Joey hypes him up and gives him a hug. So cute. Love Joey. And then Monica's about to go out into the balcony where Ross has just gone, and Joey's like, no, you can't go out there. And she's just like, why can't I go on my balcony? And he's like, because Ross is, he's throwing you a surprise party.
Oh yeah, that's
he's
right.
Like,
the big
planning
lie.
it. And she's like, oh, I love him. And so she thinks this is real, and then Phoebe hears about this, and it goes into this side story where she says that she's last to know everything, including that Monica had a crush on Joey when he first moved in, and Joey loves this. He's like, you had a crush on me. And she's like, no, I was just really small because I thought you had nice arms.
I don't remember that.
No, yeah, because our DVD was scratched and wouldn't work at that scene. But there's a few little deleted snippets where Joey's like picking up stuff and being like, hey Monica, look at my arm, I'm picking this thing up. Stupid. Then we go out into the balcony to see the conversation between Ross and Rachel. And he's like, so Rachel, I've been meaning to say, I don't know if you've known, but I've been wanting to, and then she's like, oh, and he's just like, oh, something yes, you know. And then all of a sudden, a cat like climbs onto the thing behind Ross and jumps on his back.
Attacks him and ruins the moment.
And then we go inside, and Phoebe, Monica, and Joey are oblivious to everything that's going on outside, and they're just singing. Phoebe's playing the guitar. They're singing Top of the World by the Carpenters, and it's from their 1972 album, A Song for You, and it's such a good song. I know it from Parent Trap. It's on the soundtrack. It's a Japanese band.
I've sung many times over the years to myself.
And it's a great song on guitar, just like around the fire or something like that.
Yeah.
And then in the background, you see you see Ross and Rachel, like, Ross is like running around, like desperately trying to get this like orange fluffy cat off his back.
You see that he's probably digging his nails into Ross's back.
And like Rachel's like following, like trying to like offer help, but like, how can you help? And James Burrows, the director, says that this is only 2 times in his career has he like kept the camera rolling until the laughs from the audience stop. And it's just, it's one of the moments the audience has laughed the hardest during all of his directing years.
Wow.
And he told David Schwimmer to keep running, like, just don't stop, just keep going. And so he ran so much that he was like out of breath, and supposedly David Schwimmer is allergic to cats.
Oh, you're kidding.
Which, oh man, that would be tricky. Where you like were forced to work with an animal that you're allergic to. And then the next scene, which I assume there was a commercial break in between, Monica is trying to put a medicine on like Ross's, the nail. I assume he has some scratches on his back. And Joey's standing over them with a candle and accidentally puts wax on the injury. Ow.
Ouch.
Yeah. And Rachel and Phoebe decide that they have to go looking for the cat's owner. They're like holding the cat and they feel bad for the cat and Ross does not.
Of course he's allergic.
Yeah. I don't know if the character is, but definitely David Schwimmer, I guess. Supposedly. Who knows if that's real. We go back to the vestibule and Chandler has changed his mind. You know, he's still, in his head, he's trying to come up with things to talk to her about or to interact with her. And he says, you know what? On second thought, gum would be perfection. And I guess this is like a really popular line that fans like to repeat and like...
Because it's so silly.
It's pretty great. Gum would be perfection. And in his head, he's like, could have said gum would be nice or I'll have a stick. But no. For me, gum is perfection. I loathe myself. So cute. Okay, the next scene is in the apartment hallways and Phoebe and Rachel are trying, walking through the hallways, which would be so dark. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know.
And they pass by one place because they hate people, supposedly, the people who live there. And they go to apartment number 8. And who's in there but Mr. Heckles, who, at this time, though, the actor was only credited as the weird guy, but he will become.
Mr. Heckles.
He is Mr. Heckles. He is right here, Mr. Heckles. Great character. The character is played by Larry Hankin, who is just awesome. He came onto the reunion show for Friends.
Oh, did he?
Yes. But he's been in Breaking Bad, and so, he's still acting, yeah. And he says, oh, yeah, that's my cat. And they're like, what's his name? And he said, Bob Buttons. Bob Buttons! And, the cat is just, like, freaking out and does not want to... No, he's like, no.
That's not my name.
He can hear. Oh, and so Rachel continues in the next clip, continues looking around for the cat, and then she stops and looks up, and there is an Italian-looking man, and he's holding the cat, and he says, bonjour, buonasera.
Buonasera,
Yeah. And she goes, wow, and she blows out the candle. So Monica, Ross, and Joey are back at the apartment. They're playing Monopoly, and Rachel returns happily with Paolo in tow. She introduces them to Paolo, who is played by Cosimo Fusco. He's an Italian actor. And he says that he had to improvise his audition just speaking in Italian. They're just like, can you just say some things in Italian? Got him the job. He describes the character as a Fabio type character and says he would never dress like Paolo. But he's just a great guy. He's really, really cool. So he talks to them in Italian. Like, yeah, you took a note that he only speaks in Italian. He does, I think, this episode. He says Monopoly.
Oh, yeah,
but other than that, he's like, oh no, he tries to speak with Ross a little bit. You have the sex? Yeah. But right now, he says something in Italian to them. He says, it's translated into, hi guys, I just moved in and I live in the floor below this. So I guess we'll see quite a lot of each other. Yeah. This is something like that.
Like that.
And I'm pretty sure the lines weren't written for him. They just kind of said, like, say some greeting, or I don't know. It sounds great.
It sounds good, yeah.
Phoebe comes in behind them, no luck finding the cat or its owner, and Rachel's like, oh, it was Paolo's cat. Yeah, by the way, the cat is Paolo's cat. I don't think we ever learned its name.
No.
Nameless cat, like in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Bob Buttons.
Yeah, it's Bob Buttons. Good name. And then Paolo sees Phoebe and starts talking to her in Italian. Supposedly he says, Phoebe, you're gorgeous too. If you're all this beautiful, I'll move right here. And Phoebe responds with saying, you betcha. And in a later episode, like a few seasons down the way, Phoebe speaks Italian to Joey's grandmother. Oh. And Joey's like, Phoebe, you speak Italian? And she says, I guess so. So who knows when Phoebe
learned it.
I bet she was in one of her past lives.
Probably.
So she might be saying you betcha because she knows that he's saying you're gorgeous too.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Or she just might be reacting like, yeah, nice. We go back to the vestibule, and Chandler's next tactic for making an impression on Jill is to blow a bubble with his gum. Because he describes it as, it's got a boyish charm, it's impish. So he tries and totally fails. I don't know what he's trying to do. He spits his gum out, it hits the wall and like lands on a table right there. And he's just like, oh man, that was a fail. And he picks up a piece of gum that he assumes is his, puts it back in his mouth, which...
It's not his.
That is so gross.
I know, and how would he even
what?
know? Ugh.
Oh my god,
Anyway.
a bank?
It wasn't sugarless. I don't...
Like...
Yeah, who spits out
No! And there's tons of pieces of gum there. I don't know what's going on at this bank. But he puts one in his mouth and he's like, this isn't my gum. And then, and now I'm choking. It's all in his voiceover. Now he's choking. She said, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Ah."
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, I'm totally fine. She said, "You're choking." And so she goes and does like the Heimlich maneuver, and it comes out, I think, on her first little push-up.
Makes his day.
Oh my god, his facial expression is the cutest. He's just like, he's very boyish and impish in this moment. He says, "Thank you."
He is in
That was, and she teases him with perfection.
Just like the shirt.
So cute. Oh my god, I love them. We go back to the apartment. Rachel and Paolo are standing by the window and he's speaking in some Italian poetry. He's saying, "Look at the moon, look at the stars, look at everything that's beautiful." And he specifically said in the interview I watched that he made that stuff up, and it's just silliness.
Good.
Oh, it's so good. And Rachel is just like enthralled in it all. And then in the background, Ross is mocking him, and it's so good. He's just like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. So good. And in general, Cosimo, the actor, was very complimentary, especially of David Schwimmer, and then he described Jennifer as very sweet. So
that's nice.
He's a really good guy. And then Rachel goes over to the girls in the kitchen and is like, "What am I doing? This is not like me." And then Ross goes to Paolo because this is his chance to try and say like, "Yeah, me and Rachel were actually a thing, so like, stay away or whatever."
Backed off.
Okay, I would say this is a red flag. Like the first few like I've seen this episode lots of times, but like I read in one of the books I have on Friends that they say that it's like him being quite controlling. Like Rachel, he's making a decision for Rachel when Rachel has never said anything about like.
Well, that's his jealousy coming through.
I know, but it's like he has ownership over her. I don't know. Kind of agree. It's kind of the start of Ross kind of showing that he's. I don't know. He definitely feels like him and Rachel are a forever thing. Like he believes in them in the future, but. Little awkward.
You didn't like that, huh?
Yeah, but so of course Paolo doesn't fully understand what he's saying. He's like, sure, yeah, okay, yeah. And
Gotcha.
And Ross is like, "You understand?" And he goes, instead of saying like, I think he was meaning to say capiche.
Oh yeah.
He goes, ceviche, which is
totally
a
different.
seafood dish from Latin America and Caribbean cuisine. So then we go back to the vestibule and frickin' Chandler and Jill Goodacre are just becoming buddies. They are sitting underneath a pen that's hung up by like a string thing, the metal thing, and they're
bored.
Oh my god, it's so cute. This is ever since I've seen this episode, that's been one of my favorite moments because they're just like hanging out and being so cute together.
And
then we're back at Monica and Rachel's apartment, and the candles are going out, which is insane. They had so many candles, and the fact that they're all, is that something?
It means it lasted a while.
Do candles go out that fast? I guess they do, actually.
Depends.
And if they lit all of them all at the beginning, it's been like hours and hours. And so Phoebe's like counting down, and then someone just blows out the last candle, and they all start doing their villain laugh renditions, and Ross is like, "I've got the best one!" And he actually really does have a good villain laugh. And then someone finds a candle, or no, the lights come back on right in that moment, and he's doing and then the lights are back on, and
they're kissing.
Paolo and Rachel are kissing, and Ross sees it and goes, "Oh!" Like his laugh turns into like, "Oh, my heart."
Anguish.
Oh no, and that's the end. Oh no, that's not the end.
Back to the vestibule.
No. Joey goes, probably not the right time, but I have to tell you that you have to throw a surprise party for Monica.
Oh, yeah.
Not a good time, Joey. Not a good time. Yes, the tag. So the credits scene is back at the vestibule and the power is back on and Jill thanks Chandler. Well, no, Chandler thanks her for the gum. And I mean, she also gave him the phone call.
Yeah.
And also for saving his life. Not a huge deal. Gosh. And then she says, thanks, I had a really fun blackout or something like that. And she gives him a kiss on the cheek. And then she says, bye, Chandler, whatever. And she leaves and the door closed behind her and he puts his face to the window. And it's just like, and then he talks.
Did that really happen?
Oh, gosh, seriously. And then he talks to the security camera and says, like, this is my account number. Please, if you got that at all on tape, even though security camera needs power to work. So maybe they got the kiss, though. Kiss on the cheek. If you have any of that, can I please have the tape? I'd really love it.
Yeah.
Love a copy. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Whew, my goodness.
A lot happened.
That's the end of the episode, man. Okay.
Score.
Should we give a score? Do you know now? Because I still wasn't sure a few minutes ago. What score are we giving?
Again, I'd like in between. I think either a 5 or a 6 for me.
A 5 or a 6.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of fans would say that this is like a top tier episode. But I've always found it a little depressing just because of the not moving the Ross and Rachel relationship further. It's actually backtracking.
But lots of witty.
But also I always
commentary.
loved Chandler and Jill Goodacre's relationship, like their chemistry. And I was always kind of sad that nothing happened with it. It was always felt like this is like a dream night for Chandler. Like this is everything he could ever want. They bonded.
He wouldn't have taken it back, so it was
But she was married. It was kind of like a known thing that, you know, they know who she is. She's a real person. Fine. But I think I'm going to give it a 6. Like, because I do think it's a really interesting, cool episode. It's all kind of taking place in over, you know, it's very small.
And they had quite the audience. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So, a big time, cool episode. And that's the Blackout episode.
Yeah.
You know, you had a word of kindness to send off?
Yes. I had written down that Billy Bush on Extra said...
It was on Extra that he said
Yeah.
this? Okay.
That he said that he interviewed Michael J. Fox and that he had said it's impossible to feel anxiety and gratitude at the same time. And I like that.
Cool. Yeah. And then what do I want to say? Because I want to say something nice to y'all too. Be kind to yourself. You're worthy. Like, I don't know. You're not alone. And I hope you are able to enjoy some sunshine.
Yeah.
I wish for you to have sunshine in your life in the next week or so. That would be nice for everyone to have some sun. And I mean literal sun, but you can take that.
Yes, during these dark days, it's nice to see the sun.
But if they're watching in Australia, then they have summertime.
That's true.
Almost summertime. Yeah.
On the northern hemisphere, it's dark days, so enjoy the sun.
Yeah, it is pretty
Bye,
dark here.
friends.
Bye.